Back, it's the family and values. And this morning, we have already our guest on the line. We're looking at understanding parental counsel. Understanding parental counsel. And this morning, we have Minister online. We would like them joining us live on the background. Hello, Mr. Langwela, how are you this
Hello,
morning?
good morning. Yeah,
Oh, good to have
so
you
good
this
to see
morning.
you.
Thank you for joining
Olori,
us.
good morning. Good to see you this morning.
Okay, Joy.
It's so good to see you. I've heard a lot about you and thank God you're here on our screen this morning. It's going to be a very wonderful conversation. Having a young one like you, coming up to have this conversation with us. Hope you're good. Happy weekend to you.
Yes, I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. It's just a very great privilege for me to be here, and I'm so appreciative of it. It's kind of
Okay,
cold
so
in
I want
Ibadan
to
right
find
now,
out from
and
you,
we're having a
Olaiwola.
good time. Yeah,
I know we
Ibadan
had a
is
series
nice.
of conversation recently, and we're looking at understanding parental counsel. To you, what triggered your mind when you saw that topic, understanding parental counsel? Who is a parent? How is counsel coming from a parent? Do you think we still really need counsel? Do young generations of now still take counsel from their parents? How well do we do this? Can you help us with that? Okay, while we're waiting for you, we had a series of discussion and we talked about the strength. When parents are not taking cognizance of who the children are, when they are being raised, when they are growing up. Don't take notice that this boy likes to run, this boy likes to, take time to study or read. And while they're reading, you just find one thing or the other to distract them from what they love to do. Some take art into work. Some decide to just be using their mouth to blow. Meanwhile, they are looking for maybe a flute
that they can blow.
A recorder that they can blow to just practice and become who they want to be. Now, I look at this and also identify with how do you understand the counsel of parents of parenting?
You see, the truth is, growing up, we grew up in a generation that the only time parents think you're serious is when you're studying. When they see you with your books, that is the only time they don't disturb you. Or when you're praying, that is the only time. So anything outside studying and praying, for them, it was a no-no. That is why, yes, it was a no-no. They never felt like it was important for you to learn musical skills or go into crafting or go into anything that was handwork. So they felt like, no, if it's not book and prayers, is that so children who dared go through that line had the beatings of their lives. In fact, they were never supported. Yes, even to an extent that a lot of them were like strangers in their father's house. But now when they put through and saw that what they were doing started yielding results and recognition, parents now started saying, oh, I'm sorry, and now started coming. A lot of parents came in later when the kids have grown, had their name, done their thing. If you go and take polls of all those people, they'll tell you their parents never supported them from the beginning. So at that point, they were going through challenges and needed counseling. Parents were not there. So you now come when he has finished making his money, you now want to teach him how to now start. And the question is, when I was planting, did you teach me the soil to plant? Did you teach me how to water? Did you teach me? Now you're coming when I've harvested and you're saying, no, this one you've harvested, put it in this corner, put it in that. So yes, that is just the truth. So the earlier we learn and take that and know that, yes, you cannot be saying that no matter a child is big, cannot be taller than C. There is a point, if you're not present in that child's life, it gets to a point the child will say, this particular tree is taller than you. Where the child will only give you respect is when it comes to family. Within that family confine, but outside the family, to their personal, to their career, they will not come to you for counsel because you were not there when they needed that counsel. That is what a lot of people, especially people that went into artistic talk, a lot of them will tell you, oh, I went into theater and my parents never supported, my parents never wanted us to be an actor and all. So they sneakily did all these things. So when they now saw that it yield results.
You know, when we were talking, one of them just said something that, do you know that when he was young, anytime we lock up the church, we will sleep back, we sit by the door and start practicing. The guy said, when he was still waiting to be at the church, he said he spent 9 hours, practically 9 hours, every day. He walked from his house down to church, the church is there, and he just been practicing. He's now a good, real face interest, and also when it comes to prayer, being humble when you pray that as well. And this happened, even when they went back to school and everything, they have learned so much. Let's go for our word of marvel and also take our commercial. We'll be right back. Family and values. Minister Olaiwola Jagun, are you back? I learned you're back. Can you join us now? We're sorry we lost him for some time. Hello? Okay, while we're waiting for him, we're discussing something. I said that young man now makes a lot of money. Okay, he's back. Minister Olaiwola, thank you for joining us again. Sorry for that network glitches everywhere right now. Everyone is telling you our system is down, we are this, but thank God you are still joining us back. So like I asked, when you saw the question, when I gave you the question, what went through your mind? Understanding parental counsel. We've been discussing some things I tried to share with my co-host here, what we discussed practically on the day I was with you and many of you on that particular day, how parents have neglected their responsibility, strengthening and supporting their children, noticing those talents or those things they need to help them with. So what went through your mind when you saw this particular topic I sent to you?
All right, thank you so much. This is a very interesting topic, and personally to me, parenting is something that has to be carefully done. And well, it's unfortunate that a lot of parents, especially during my time, a lot of parents didn't really have that understanding. So parental counsel is so important, is so germane when it comes to a child growing up and a child actually becoming who he or she is supposed to become. Parental counsel is the advice, the guide that a parent brings to the table when it comes to a child growing up and having to discover him or herself, in terms of ability, in terms of talent, in terms of strength, in terms of, what the child can do, inherent abilities and potentials. So for me, I believe that parents, first and foremost, are given the opportunity to lead and tutor a child in the way he or she should go. The Holy Book, made it so clear that teach a child in the way he should go, not in the way you want him to go. So it is therefore imperative to say that parenting is like you are going to be an observer, first and foremost, to observe what are the inherent abilities in this child, first and foremost. What are the talents? What are the attitudes that this child has displayed over time that can make you say, okay, yes, this child, okay, has this ability, has this potential, can do this, can do this, can do this. In that, therefore making yourself available to tutor the child in the line of his interest. A lot of parents just feel that no, I'm giving back to this child. This child, I want this child to become a doctor, and then every now and then it is being a doctor that is always ringing in their mind. What of the child's talents? What are the things that the child is displaying? That you can see that, okay, because once a child is exposed to a certain environment, you begin to see the child manifesting his or her interest. And it is important for you as an observer, like I said the parent should actually first and foremost be an observer. Observe the inherent abilities and interests of the child, then tailoring that child in that line. It is important. So what came to mind is that parent first and foremost, because of course you can't cancel who you don't know. You can't cancel what you are not even aware of. So first and foremost, a parent should be an observer. Therefore, understand whatsoever it is that you gather from what you have been able to observe. You can then guide, advise, tutor, mentor, and you can profile a lot of materials, to guide that child to becoming who he or she is supposed to be.
Thank you so much. You've said a whole lot within a very short period of time, and coming from someone like you with a whole lot of knowledge. Thank you. But then I want to ask, I'm sure growing up, there were times you really needed parental counseling. You needed your parent to put you in certain line in regards to your own personal interest, what you wanted to do. Like I said on the show when we started, I said, growing up, all parents wanted to see you was read your book or when you're praying. They don't disturb you. When you're reading your book and when you're praying, they don't. But anything outside that, they feel it was a distraction to you. And for a lot of people that scale through that path and follow their line of interest, not what parents wanted them to do, they missed out parental counseling. Now, were there times you really needed, parental counseling? Maybe in the course of your pursuit for your passion, at the point you were breaking down, you needed parents to tell you, don't worry, you can make it, push on, and all of that. And what did you do? How did you handle the situation when you needed that parental counseling the most?
Yeah, thank you very much for that. For me, it was more of inability for my parents to really observe and discover, okay, this is this child's interest. Give him room, give him time, opportunities to develop what he is supposed to do. So for me, it was more of they never see any opportunity in what I'm doing, or like they didn't really discover, okay, this is this child's interest, and just tailoring me in that line. So while I was very young, I had this ability. I could sing, I could do this, I could do that, and it was more of, so there are a couple of times where I go over, maybe in church, I want to rehearse, I want to do this, being a last child of the family, I was always asked to, follow them home, and those how will I put it now? The environment that needed to be created was not really there. I remember some of the children, around me while growing up, if there is a certain talent that they have, and the parents are able to discover on time, they begin to buy them stuff, they begin to do this, they begin to enroll them in a school and all that. Mine wasn't like that. It was just more of just live your life, go to school, come back, do house chores, and that was it. So for me, I had this ability. I could sing, I could do all of that. I want to get myself around musical instruments, and all of that. But because, of course, the last child of the family needs to always be the one to be sent around and all that. So it was more of that, while growing up. So there was no, so it wasn't there. The counsel, the discovery of what I could do, my interest and all that, to find somebody that's really, see ahead of me to say, okay, yes, this young boy has this ability. Let us encourage him. Let us, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I was sharing with Olori while we're having that conversation, that there were a couple of times when I within myself, I just felt like, okay, this is what I can do. Let me just face it head on, having to personally rehearse on my own. And there was a certain day I was rehearsing in the house. My dad just walked into the room and said, I will slap you. You are shouting, you are rehearsing, you are doing this. I was, his own interest was don't disturb the neighbors. But he didn't really see. So all of that was not there. I mean, if I'm to go by parental guidance and parental counsel, I wouldn't be where I am today. Having to do music, having to do all of the things I'm doing right now. So he wasn't there at all. So for me, I just looked inward. It was more of early self-awareness. For me, it was more of early self-awareness. Although it was a bit late, because I view myself now that I could have been doing much better if that counsel and that tutoring and that guidance was there from the beginning. I would have been doing much better than I'm doing right now if that was there. So for me, it was taking responsibility at the later years of my life and say, okay, this is what I can do. Having listened to seasoned authors, read books. Having listened to haven't read books and listened to tapes here and there, church programs and all that. Okay, so I began to look at, okay, what is the right thing in me that I can do, my personal interest and all that. That's how I could therefore say, okay, I can do, so this I'm doing is not just that I'm doing it. So is my talent. It was more of self-awareness. And then I began to work towards, developing, reaching out to people. So it was more of a personal, responsibility that I had to take, to get my way to where I am in my area of interest. So that
Thank
was
you
how
so much.
was
I
able
love
to
that.
handle
In
it.
your
Wow.
area of interest.
In your area of interest. Now, I want to come in now with this. Olaiwola, I have come across young minds who will tell you the parent that was never there for me will be difficult for me to take counsel from them. Because when I was deeply, lost, seeking counsel, they were not there. I will only recognize those who were there for me at that time. Do you think this is good? That's one. Two,
Okay, for
what
me,
will be your
yeah,
advice to those young ones in their 30s, let's say in their 30s, who were looking out for that counsel from their parents, believing that they will be there to help me and guide me because they have the resources, they have the connection, they have everything, but they never did it? What will be your advice to them if they are not getting it?
Okay,
So you have to question.
So first and foremost, so first and foremost, I will address the first one. Usually when parents give birth to children, during my time, I was born in 1987, So first and foremost, I will say that they are naive. That's what I discovered. They don't have an idea of what parenting is. First, to start with, they don't know that, okay, as a parent, while a child is growing up, you have to first of all be their teacher, be their coach, then in the later years, you need to understand the age range, that positions you to a certain phase of parenting. Because there are certain phases of parenting, teaching, coaching, and mentoring, and then be their friend later in life. When you are someone's friend, you really don't really have that total say over their life. They are in control. What you can do is to cancel and maybe influence their decision. Okay, so a parent of that generation did not really understand what it means to parent in the first place. So as a young person of my age, I'm 38 now, and children of my age should understand that possibly you are just born into a family or parent or parents who does not have that knowledge. So sometimes I discover that it is not even their fault. It is because they are not even aware of what is to be done. They are not even aware. They are not as exposed as we are right now. To the glory of God, I'm married now and I have my son. And right now, what I'm doing currently for him is to be his teacher. I'm not going to be his friend. Of course, I will love him, care for him, accept him, and all that. Right now, I'm being his teacher. I will teach him, don't do this, don't do that. No, don't go there. No, this, that. Of course, I do it with love, embracing him, teaching him and all that. At a point in his life, I will have to be his coach. At a point in his life, I have to be his mentor. At a point in his life, I have to be his friend. I must understand that phase. So for parents of that generation, I believe that they do not really, really understand what they are supposed to do in the first place. In terms of parenting, they do not really have that understanding that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. This child is this age and this age. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this. Okay, so we in this generation, children in their people in their 30s who had that experience should understand that probably it's because they don't know. First and foremost. So you will not dwell on that to say, you were not there when I needed you the most and all that. Just forgive, and do what most of the time, a mistake that people make, they are there for you to understand how not to behave in your own time. Somebody told me something and it has stayed with me, that pain is very, very, it's a good thing. Pain is a good thing. Pain in your body. Imagine if a knife cut you maybe you are cooking and then a knife just cut you somehow. If you don't experience pain, you will not even discover where the problem is. So your experience is to teach you how not to behave as a parent. So you will not totally yank off the fact that, okay, it happened, yes. It is just also to teach you how not to behave, how not to parent, and you should also understand that it is possibly because they do not really have that understanding, and you must let it go, because what you don't let go, there is every possibility, if you have that pain, there's every possibility that you replicate the same thing in your own children. So as a young person, your 30s, possibly you are married, you have your child and all that, your parents were never there for you and all that. First of all, forgive them. Let it pass, understanding that they do not really have that understanding. For my parents, I believe that it was just because they didn't understand. They didn't have that understanding. So you need to let go and then just bring them to that understanding. And whatsoever counsel, whatsoever it is that they can still do, give them the room to still do it. Give them the room to still do it. It is important you create that space for them to still give you counsel, little counsel they know and all that. And then for the second question, sorry, please pardon me. Can you repeat the second question so that I know that I'm able to?
Okay. The second question I asked was that for those who had parents who could support them, give them connection, be there to make it easy for them, and they never showed up. But rather, they got solace and counsel from people who understand, what they really wanted to exhibit. They would prefer to stay with those ones and neglect their parents. You have talked about forgiveness. So I think you have practically answered everything. I think you've answered it. So let's hear Joy's question.
That's actually, in fact, what he was talking, I wanted to talk about the entitlement parents, whereby, yes, you see, it's not that they didn't know. It's just a mentality ignorance of upbringing they had. We still talk it here on Family and Value. That discipline of, oh, I'm your father, you must listen to me. This is what was happening there. Not because we had educated parents, we had enlightened parents who traveled, we had parents who knew. But we had parents even in that generation that raised their kids with understanding and counsel. Just like he was saying, he had friends that parents were buying their stuff. Those parents knew what they were doing. It's just that most parents just did not want to accept that aspect of your life. Even till now, if not for technology, that parents are now saying that, oh, aside the four-part career, if you're not a lawyer, a medical doctor, an engineer, and this thing, other career too can bring food to your table. If not, we will still be having the same issues. That is just the fact that technology really came to brighten a lot of things and sweep things on our faces. That was it. But I wanted him to talk about the entitlement parents that, yes, they were never, see, they are not there. Instead of parents accepting their fault and saying, okay, well, we are sorry. He was talking about forgiveness, and that's what I wanted to come into. How do you forgive people who have not even realized that they were wrong? They were wrong.
Most parents should apologize to their children for not being there from the beginning and say, okay, we were ignorant, I can understand, but now you've succeeded. Now I hope Olaiwola is still with us. Is he back? Okay. Did you get that question she was asking? So I wanted to talk about the entitlement parents. Did you get the question she was asking? Let's get that first.
Yes.
Okay, so go on.
Yes. So she was. I believe that she was talking about entitled parents who sometimes want to feel that, okay, it has happened. I'm here to claim my right. I'm your parents, all the same. You have to take you have to take a full responsibility of this, that. I understand. I understand that, so to say. It is important that parents get that realization that, look, you were not there when this child needed you the most. And a lot of times also, I need to chip this in, that a lot of times parents lay claims on the fact that, okay, at that time they didn't have the resources. They didn't have the resources. There was no money. There was no this. There was no that. That is not a yardstick to say that you were not there. What we are even talking about is not even in terms of finance. We are talking about in terms of your presence, in terms of your counsel, in terms of your reassurance of a better future, a better tomorrow, reignited in your child, every single time that you have the opportunity to. Okay, of course, at that time it was more of hustling, going here and there, to make ends meet, to feed the child, to pay the child's school fees and all that, But your counsel has, needed to come in handy at that time. And if you didn't do it, then it is important for you to recognize that you defaulted in that area and, make amends. Make amends. A parent should not feel entitled when you were not there when the child needed you the most. It is just the appropriate thing to do, to understand that, okay, you were not there when the child needed you the most. All of these things that this child has become today has been through personal effort, through personal consistency, and ups and downs, time invested and all that. So, okay, so a parent must have that understanding that, look, I was never there and all that. And then children of between age 30 and thereabout should also give that room, open room for the parents to have that realization. Some parents don't, I mean, some children don't even give that opportunity for a parent to, to come into their life for any reason. They don't want to see them. The Yoruba says they don't want very mean or something. They don't want to see them at all. Don't even come near. No. Whatsoever it is, at the end of the day, they are still your parents. Like I said, for some it is that they were naive. For some it was that they were out of resources. They didn't have that resources to buy or the children the equipment, the environment, or create the environment that is needed for the child to become what he or she is supposed to become. They just focus on academics alone and all that. We must a parent must understand that regardless of that, your own attention is needed, your own contribution is needed. And once that is not there, you are supposed to own up and take responsibility and apologize and become available for them. And people of that nature who had that experience must be open enough to let their parents have a stake in their life now that they have that understanding.
Okay, now Olaiwola, big shout out to Jolly and Abigail Egbodo as they have their wedding anniversary, and to everyone celebrating, happy birthday, happy celebration. Tomorrow is Temitokpe Odebode Olubukola Sherifat's birthday. Happy birthday to you from Pillow Whispers from BWSEI, and to everyone's sister support system, and to everyone celebrating, we wish you all the very best. Olaiwola, to cap up this our discussion this morning, I want you to just give us a minute of advice to our parents out there, and also to fellow, age brackets of this generation. In like 2 minutes,
okay,
a word of advice.
All right. Thank you so much for this opportunity. First and foremost, I am as a person who read early childhood, I understand that there is a need for parents to really, really understand what it means to parent. It is important that you understand that parenting is a lot of work. It is to bring to life inherent and potential, inherent abilities and potential of a child that God has given to you. So you are there to do a job. There is a job to be done. Parenting is just not like I have a child, yes, and then the child will go to school. No, that's not it. You have to bring, there is an inherent potential in that child that the world has to know, that needs to be nurtured so much so that the world will be aware, of the potential or the ability or area of interest of that child. So in doing that, there has to be an awareness of what you need to do. Okay, so parents has to go for knowledge, being aware of, okay, what is to be done at this age, what is to be done at this age, what is to be done at this age, what is to be done at this age. We have a lot of parents who wants to put their feet down when the child is already a teenager. That's why we have a teenager breaking off from parents. Why? Because what you ought to do as a parent while the child is still between the ages of 1 to 6 years old, you didn't do it. All of the things. So you must understand the times and season of every child, observing what the abilities they have, and tailoring and nurturing and counseling and guiding them in that area, so much so that at a point in their life, you become a teacher, And then at a point in their life, you become a coach. At a point in their life, you become a mentor. And at a point in their life, maybe later in life, maybe when they're already maybe in their 30s, like I am right now, in their 30s, you become a friend to them. You know, you must understand those times and seasons, and a parent has to go for knowledge. Because for me, that was the areas my parents were lacking. I mean, they did all their best, you know, to put food on our table. But that side, that area of developing my inherent ability was never there. So it is important that parents go for knowledge, understanding time and season in their life. And then for people in this category, or, you know, in this age bracket, you know, 30 years and above, who didn't have these parental guardians, you must take responsibility. You must take responsibility for yourself. You must let go of the pain and focus on the future, or focus on the opportunities, what you can still make do with what you have, you know, what you can lay your hands on, you know, what you can arm yourself with, such that you don't let also that replicate itself in your own children. You know, even you as a parent, you must understand that you have this opportunity to become the best for your children, and you cannot do that if you are still bearing the pain of the parental guardians that you lacked. You know, you must let go of that. Look towards the future. Look inherent. What can you do for yourself in your, you know, your inherent ability? How can you develop yourself so much that it will be evident that, okay, this God-given talent and abilities didn't go unannounced. So I believe that
So good to have you. It's an honor. Thank you. We appreciate every of your contribution. Our time is fast spent, and I'm sure we're still going to bring you down to Lagos or still join you some other time. Thank you for making time out to join us this morning. All the best to your wife and your son. Wish you the very best of the weekend and enjoy your holidays as well. Stay at home and enjoy it with them very well. Very important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Bye. Thank you so much.
So my greatest happiness is the fact that we have a very young father who is so intentional about life, who understands what parenting is all about. So he would definitely raise a greater generation ahead of him. For me, that's the height of it. The wisdom and knowledge you've shared forth. I'm praying for more for you. Thank you for being a part of the show this morning. Thank God it's Friday. I will be relaxing, signing out over the weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Enjoy.
She's always running out of the studio when it's Friday. So thank God it's Friday. Enjoy your holidays. Eid Maulud Nabil to all our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. Baraka Jumat, we love you. We celebrate grace over your life. And also to every one of you out there, we love you. We love you and we pray. We thank you for always staying with us on Family and Values. I still remain Olori. Hope to see you next week as Joy will be taking over to work efficiently on the topics. See you. Bye.